The J-20 Mighty Dragon is a fifth-generation fighter that causes tremendous speculation. For some, it is a defiance against the supremacy of Western military aviation, while for others, the Mighty Dragon is not mighty at all. So it is a game-changer or only a bubble. Welcome to Future City. Today we are going to talk all about some secret information revealed about Chinese stealth J-20. So, let's get right to it. The J-20 air superiority fighter, with precision strike capability, is the world's third operational fifth-generation fighter aircraft. Neither the Russians nor the Europeans could enter the top three after the F-22 and F-35. It is a remarkable achievement for China. In the late 1990s, China initiated its fifth-generation fighter program, given the name JXX by Western intelligence agencies. It was a very ambitious project. After all, China had just flown the fourth-generation J-10 over 20 years after the S-16. The People's Liberation Army Air Force, PLAAF for short, unveiled the program in 2002. It did not include only developing a new fighter, but also the development of the subsystems, including an engine with thrust vectoring capability and a weapon suite. Beijing tasked Shenyang and Chengdu to develop new aircraft. In 2008, the PLAAF selected the second company. The Chengdu's aircraft, called J-20, made its maiden flight on January 11, 2011, when United States Secretary of Defense Robert Gates visited China. The aircraft entered the PLAAF service in 2017, and the first J-20 squadron reached the operational level 1 year later. Unlike the other fifth-generation fighters, the J-20 has a two-seat variant, the J-20S. It was unveiled on July 8, 2020, and entered mass production the same day. Thanks to its two-seat design, a J-20S, also known as J-20B, can coordinate attacks and reconnaissance missions of other friendly single-seat fighters by acting as airborne control aircraft. Also, it can efficiently control unmanned aerial vehicles in a strike group, which is considered one of the essential capabilities of the next sixth-generation fighters. The two-seat design is also beneficial for omni-role capability. While the pilot focuses on air engagements and flying the aircraft, the second operator can concentrate on ground-based threats and targets. The French ordered more two-seat Rafales than the initial plan because of this reason. The J-20A has a length of 21.2 meters, a wingspan of 13.01 meters, and a height of 4.69 meters. Its wing area is 73 square meters. The aircraft's empty weight is 17,000 kilograms, while its maximum takeoff weight is 37,000 kilograms. Two 142 kilonewton Shenyang WS-10C turbofan engines provide a top speed of Mach 2. It can climb an altitude of over 20,000 meters, in other words, 66,000 feet. The aircraft's range is 5,500 kilometers. The J-20's combat radius is 2,000 kilometers. It has a capacity of 11 tons of ordnance. The J-10 can carry the PL-10, PL-12, PL-15, and PL-21 air-to-air missiles, small-diameter precision-guided bombs, and anti-radiation missiles. At first glance, it was a glorious achievement for China and the Chinese aerospace industries. They came far from behind and still managed to get ahead of the Europeans and the Russians. But there were many shortcomings of the J-20 as a fifth-generation fighter. The low-rate initial production variant of the aircraft has the 132 kilonewton WS-10B turbofan. It has no low observability, thrust vector control, and super cruise capabilities. The 145 kilonewton AL-31FM2 turbofans of the early production model of the J-20A also lack these capabilities. In 2019, China began flight tests of the later production variant of the aircraft with the 142 kilonewton WS-10C. It has serrated afterburner nozzles for enhanced rear aspect stealth. In 2021, the new J-20 has become operational. Currently, China is testing the 180 kilonewton WS-15s on the new J-20S variant. The new turbofans have low observability, thrust vector control, and super cruise capabilities. So soon, the US-15s will power all J-20s, and the aircraft will finally be able to meet the fifth-generation fighter criteria in terms of power plant. The essential criterion of fifth-generation fighter is stealth. The J-20 has many features, such as extensive composite and radar-absorbent coating materials usage, diverterless supersonic inlets, a design to reduce radar cross-section, internal weapon bays for armament, etc. Still, some sources claim that the canards on the aircraft would compromise stealth and cause radar detection. But it may not be completely true. For example, the X-36 tailless fighter agility research aircraft had canards, but it was still quite stealthy. Also, Boeing's AT/AXX design, which will be a sixth-generation fighter, has these little forward wings. The US sources acknowledge that the J-20 is stealthier than the Russian fifth-generation fighter, Su-57. Even though the Indian Air Forces declared that the radar of the Su-30 MKI could detect the J-20 in 2018, many Western experts think that the Chinese are possibly flying the mighty Dragon with radar reflectors during peacetime to keep secrecy. We should add that these kinds of declarations always have a share of propaganda. According to Chinese sources, the airborne warning aircraft of the PLAAF can also detect the F-35s. We can never be sure how reliable these claims are for both sides. If we had access to classified files and reveal this information in our video, none of our viewers would still be sure whether what we said was true or propaganda. It is an inevitable dilemma when someone talks about military systems. So we may accept that J-20 meets the stealth criterion of being a fifth-generation fighter. The type of radar on the J-20s has not officially been released yet, but many sources claim that the J-20 has an active electronically scanned array radar with an output power of 24 kilowatt, which likely contains 2,000 to 2,200 transmit/receive modules. If it is true, the number of these modules and the size of the output power exceeds the AN/APG-77 on the F-22, so the J-20's radar may have a more extended detection range than its US counterpart. However, it is known that Chinese radar and electronic warfare system technologies are slightly behind Western countries. Still, we may say that the J-20 meets the radar criteria. Currently, the aircraft also has no helmet-mounted display capability. The Chinese engineers are working on it, so we can assess that the J-20 is still at the bottom of the ladder. The current variants of the aircraft are not real fifth generation. The mighty Dragon is a newly hatched infant waiting for maturity. At least, China is in a better place than the USA in terms of ramjet-engineered long-range air-to-air missiles. Still, the USA will close this gap soon. You can find a more detailed analysis of the advantages of this type of missile in our Meteor video. Also, the lack of an internal gun on the J-20 is confusing. The Chinese probably ignored the F-4 Phantom ill experiences in the Vietnam War. It will surely be a problem in dogfights. After the technical analysis, let's move on to a more speculative part. Today's top spies may not be charismatic like James Bond or athletic like Ethan Hunt. In the age of computers, the most dangerous ones are probably asocial nerds who never leave their chairs. Many sources claim that the Chinese managed to hack Lockheed Martin and stole some critical documents in 2007. If it is reality, and most likely it is, China had the highest level of stealth technology when designing the J-20. Also, the F-117 Nighthawk shot down over Yugoslavia was examined by Chinese engineers. Many military enthusiasts tend to belittle the J-20 since it is a product of copying and stealing US technology. If you stole the best one and copied it, what's the problem? Except that is morally wrong. Let's move on to our following speculation. The term stealth refers to low radar cross-section, not invisibility. For example, the radar cross-section of the F-35 or J-20 is similar to a small bird's. In a trial conducted in the 1990s, a flycatcher fire control radar proved that it could detect and track a small bird. Do you think the parties have not worked on more capable extended range variants of this type of radar for 25 years? What does a small bird flying at 10,000 feet at supercruise speed mean to an experienced radar operator or the appropriate software. Also, do you think an advanced weather radar cannot detect the wingtip vortex of a jet fighter flying at supercruise? Or the leading countries have not worked on improving this technology? Please remember that we are only brainstorming. All are just speculations. Nevertheless, they may not be fictional at all. In 2011, Iran detected, hacked, and landed a US RQ-170 Sentinel stealth unmanned aerial vehicle. Could it be done without the radar with superior features and information from possible hacking? So complete trust in stealth technology may not be wise. Be sure that all 5th-generation fighter users will also use the electronic warfare systems extensively in case of war. In this case, it wouldn't make sense on its own to discuss which aircraft is stealthier. There are two extreme approaches to the J-20: belittling or overrating it. Belittling is the riskiest way. If you are wrong, you may lose the war. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. Make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. See you next time on Future City.